So that's one of the things I've learned with my son is I try not to tell him what to do. I try to guide him, but I want him to learn how to make good decisions. And sometimes you have
Now,
to let them figure it out.
okay, so when you say good decisions, if they're not on medication, are they capable of making good decisions?
He's made good decisions, like I'm saying, as far as where he's gonna live and how to make sure
Okay.
he's handling his business, his hygiene. Um, I had to see if he could do that on his own, and he did.
Okay.
He gets depressed when he feels like he failed. Him coming home to recalibrate was like the end of the world the first time, but
Because
now,
he felt like he failed
yeah,
his independence.
he failed, but now he's talking it through.
Okay.
And so, and he said, sometimes you, and now, like I tell him, sometimes you just have to learn. I said, what if you were on your meds? Do you think you would have had a different outcome? And he said, I think I would have. He said, I think I made good decisions, but I think I could have made even better decisions if I wasn't always in a erratic state of in being having severe anxiety as well. He does have
Okay.
anxiety as well.
Okay. So, what advice would you give to a mother that's watching this or that's going to watch this and she sees something in her child, but there's a sense of shame um, when it comes to dealing with that? And I know a lot of that shame just comes from what others think, what
Mm-hmm.
others are going to think. I mean, and that's not just in this um, situation.
Mm-hmm.
People are really over concerned with the opinions of others anyway.
Mm.
But in this situation, what would you say to that mom?
First, you're okay. Your baby is okay. Your baby is okay. Your baby is fine just who they are. And they're worthy just because of who they are. They don't have to fit nobody's uh, picture frame of how they figure your baby should be. If your baby needs help, get your baby to help. Stop beating yourself up. We all make mistakes. Um, when we start listening to everybody's opinion. As a mother, you have an innate instinct in yourself about your children and about what's going on. Um, there's no shame in that. Um,
What's one of the first things they should do if they're ready to address the issue with their child?
you you already know your baby. We know our babies. It's okay to ask for help. You're not alone. Ask for the help you need and ask for the help your baby needs.
And that's important too because I think in this situation, parents are so consumed with helping the child that they forget that they need support as well. And I know that there are certain organizations that support the parents.
There's a lot of resources. When I went to take my son to get diagnosed, they were looking at me too. They gave us plenty of resources. So whenever you take your child, it's okay to ask for resources to help you. Um, it's not an easy journey when you have a child with a diagnosis. Um, it's just not. We had our ups and downs. Um, I had to figure out his language. How does he interpret things? I'm saying one thing and he's interpreting it another. I had to learn how to be more kind um, and more forgiving. As he was, I couldn't parent him the way I parent his sisters. You know, I could give them directives. I could say certain, might be a little harder, like when they didn't get that A or things like that. With him, I had to be a little more gentle with him. He thrived off of me being very, giving him clear, concise, 1 or 2 directives at a time. I couldn't just pop everything off at him. So learn, your child. The world is going to be hard on all our children, whether they have a disability or not. Remember to be kind. And by you being kind to him, you learn to be kind to yourself. Lead with more grace. Less judgment. I had to learn all that. Those were some lessons I had to learn real. It was hard because I thought I was, but I wasn't. Okay. It took him being able to come to me and say, Mom, ooh, the way you said that really hurt me. Those hurt my feelings, or the way you said that, so I had to learn how to talk to him and have better conversations with him. I had to learn how to be his safe space. And to be his safe space, I had to learn how to forgive myself. I had to be more gentler with myself. And I had some hard conversations because in the beginning, I was just in a survival mode. I'll just be a mama, thinking this is how my grandma raised and this is what I do. And it was hard when I had to sit down with him and see how he viewed me from his lens at an early age. I'm like, ew. Very painful. And I know I led a lot of that was because I was dealing with my shame and my guilt for thinking I made my baby this way. It wasn't easy. It was painful. There was plenty of tears. But I had to work it out. Did a lot of praying. And it started with forgiving myself for the things that I think I missed, or I didn't quite do as well as I could have. I had to forgive myself for not getting the help from my son early on, like I should have. I let other people's opinions and thoughts affect my decision making for my son. I don't regret being that mama bear, because I did advocate quite well, but I had to also learn when my self-advocacy became me starting to selling my child, and I had to learn to stop. He's fine. My baby is fine, just who he is. He is worthy to be in this world just like anybody else. He's perfectly imperfect. And I always said perhaps I was given a perfectly imperfect baby to teach myself about forgiveness and learning how to truly unconditionally love somebody without judgment. We can say we unconditionally love people, but I promise you, when you are dealing and caretaking somebody who has a disability, they can teach you about unconditional love.
And that goes for all of us, whether we are caretakers or not. We need to have unconditional love for each other. Anyway, before we end, thank you for taking the time,
of course,
to speak with us. I know y'all talking about my video because you only see this part of us, but Miss Wimberly is very busy and her desk is a mess. So we had to adjust so that we, y'all didn't have to see this back here.
You're wrong for that.
But we want to thank you for opening up. It took a lot of I don't know how you wrote the book, but I know it took a lot of dealing with your inner feelings.
Yes, it did.
And then to share it with us. But tell everyone where they can buy your book.
Well, it's called The Gift I Didn't Know I Needed. And it is by me, T.L. Wimberly. And you can get it on Amazon.com.
Thank you, Miss Wimberly.
You're welcome, Ms.
And
Beverly.
thank y'all for watching the video. And I promise you the next video, this was food for the soul, but the next video will be food for our pie holes.
That's
okay?
right. Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.